Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. Really glad you're here today. So the last video I put out on this channel was about what happens when animals go into the light. And I wanted to take a look at just sort of kind of like what people's perceptions are versus perhaps something that is a little bit closer to reality. Now, I have talked about this in previous videos. I know that there was like written channeling that I shared with you, but I thought it would be a good time to take a look at it again and get some fresh insight. So this is going to be a direct channeling from Masudius, and yeah, and so let's get going here. As usual, all information, all channeled information that comes from Masudius is copyrighted under my personal name. Here we go. Masudius, can you please tell us about heaven and hell? Can you tell us what happens as we move through the transition from physical being back into spirit? What happens? We are, as always, completely delighted and honored that you have reached out to us for guidance, insight, and even sometimes clarification. It is really important to understand that the concept of heaven and hell, in many ways, was created as a form of control. It really was, if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. Simple as that. It became very binary. It was very cut and dry. And so it was very easy for then people in control of different religious communities to use that as a way of not allowing the divine given right of free choice to actually take root. And it has taken eons of time for the awareness that each and every carry a sliver of the divine within, and that the greatest gift was free will, and that heaven and hell are in many ways illusionary places. It can be very comforting when somebody is, really perhaps of lower vibration and lesser light, to comfort ourselves with the thought that, well, they're going to go to hell, they're going to get theirs. But that isn't how the process actually works, because everything is about experience. Everything is about gaining wisdom, knowledge, insight, and understanding. Does that mean that people who hurt and harm because they're functioning from a lower vibration, does that mean that they sort of get off scot-free? No, it absolutely does not mean they get off scot-free. But nor is there a literal place, called hell. So let's talk about what is perhaps a better way or a clearer way to look at this. First of all, there is a reason that the phrase "as above, so below" was coined and has been around for forever, because that really is far more accurate. As above in heaven, as below in earth. It is you know, the two places are not separate. They are a matter of consciousness. They are a matter of perception. They are a matter of being in a certain light or vibration. And so, what we believe happens, what we think is going to happen as we pass, as we go into that light and we move through that transition period. Very often is exactly what happens, because our reality is made up of our belief structure. And don't ever lose sight of that. It's incredibly important to remember that. Our reality is a reflection of what we believe. That's why manifestation works and can be so effective, because if you can shift your beliefs, if you can shift your perceptions, you will then attract to you what those perceptions are. But again, you know, the divine really doesn't see things in terms of good or bad. So whatever it is you perceive is what you will receive. Very important to remember that. So as you're passing and you're moving into that light and through that transition, in many ways, what you believe is really going to be what greets you. And that's not, and it's because, truly, there is not a one size fits all. Okay? It isn't the same for every single soul, because their experiences, their perceptions are different. They're a reflection of the life they have lived and the beliefs that they have lived by. So there are those who really may experience a religious event as they as they exit the transition and move into that light, or what is known by you guys as the light. That is where they can have a religious experience. That is where they can see, you know, relatives and friends, family, etc., that have gone before them. If a soul, for example, passes in a sudden or violent way, they can often get stuck, sort of reliving over and over again the experience that caused the release of the physicality. When that happens, guardians and angelic forces come together, and they do everything they can to encourage that soul to move beyond that trauma and that tragedy into a place of being able to move forward and heal. But it's not like they're trying to, you know, trick them into come over here, it'll be better, come over here. It's not how it works. It is about sending messages to that soul, reminding them that what they perceive, they will receive. And so they can change the environment and the place that they're in simply by no longer accepting that as their reality. As above, so below. As all of you can shift and change your perception to create a new reality. Once people, souls, energy beings, move through that transition and they go into the light, there's a series of sort of steps and stages that they go through, but understand again, they go through them in their own time and in their own way and to the best of their perceptions, will, desire. There are some who will hold on to that personality of a previous lifetime because maybe they're waiting for others who they loved to pass, to come to them, to go move through the transition and into the light. And they want to sort of play a real role in that, perhaps even helping them move towards transition. There are some who will immediately go into a life review. And they will review the experiences of a lifetime. They will very, very quickly figure out this is what they want to do or what they should have done. And they will almost immediately return to physical form. They will reincarnate. They will come back. There are some who go to places of reflection, go to places of learning. There are some who will then step into a role or more like join a force of guardians and angelic beings surrounding a person, which is how come sometimes, people who have passed, the people still on the earth will say, listen, I know my grandfather is right beside me. I can feel him all the time. That's why, because he is. Passing from physicality to energy form has always been as easy as moving through a doorway. Just gently moving the veil aside and moving through. And in spirit form, as people are leaving their physicality, there is a memory or reminder of the fact that it really is an easy transition. And as a result, most people will have a relatively easy transition and moving into that light, that space of light. Those who have the hardest trouble are those who believe in nothing. Those who believe that when the body dies, that's it. Completely disregarding the fact that they are an energy source made physical, manifest in a physical way. They are not, it is the physical body that allows the energetic body to have physical, tangible experiences. But they are not the physical body. They are the energy body. And those people who don't believe in an energy body and only believe in a physical body have very difficult times, especially as they are approaching moving into transition, because they become fearful. They become scared that there really is nothing more. And when I'm gone, I'm just gone. And it's just all black and dark, which is sort of illogical in its own way, because when you were sleeping, you don't know you're sleeping, and it's not a place of nothing and dark. But for some reason, in that period of, death, people think that they're aware of the nothing, I guess, which is incredibly inaccurate, simply because what they are aware of is their return to energy or spirit form. While there are broad brush similarities between every single soul's movement from physicality through transition and into the light and ultimately back again. They are as varied and as different as every single soul, because every single soul is on its own path. And that is why you are often told, one, to not judge another, and two, to not try to dictate to someone what the correct path is, because it's their experience. And unconsciously, subconsciously, and consciously, they've made whatever decisions needed to be made to pursue that path. So, I suppose if there is a place or a space and time that would feel closest to your perception of hell, it would very possibly be during every soul's life review. Because during a life review, you do not only witness your life as you lived that physical existence from your perspective, but you also live it from the other person's perspective. So if you are a person who engaged in a great deal of cruelty, you will witness objectively your cruelty, but then you will embody it metaphysically the experiences of the person you were cruel to. And you will have to experience what they went through as a result, and often by extension, those around them that went through something because of the cruelty or the hurt or harm that was caused to one person. So as an example, if you have taken someone's life, not only are you going to have to experience that person's passing, but you're going to have to experience the trauma and grief that was caused to those who were impacted by that. Of course, the other side of that is during a life review, you will often experience, much to, I suppose, your shock and delight, all of the benefits, all of the blessings that you passed on through the course of your life. And the ones that you passed on consciously are at a level, and it's a beautiful and wonderful thing, but it is the ones that you passed on almost without thinking. They were just instinctive. They were just natural. Those are the ones that are going to blow you away. Those are the ones where you're really going to understand the power and the force of high vibrational energy, whether that is empathy, kindness, generosity, love. And so the life review really can be, I suppose, your perception of heaven or hell, because you experience the full spectrum of what you lived and created while in physical form. But it is incorrect to think that there is a place. That is something that has been created most often by religious leaders, because it was a way to keep those who were not able to get a higher education, those who could not read, for example, really had to believe whatever it was those in authority said, well, the Bible said, or the teacher said, or the teachings were. And even to this day, where people can read and they are exposed and they can get their religious teachings in a physical form, they are still encouraged to interpret them exactly as they have been told to by those religious leaders. And more, as your planet, as the civilization on your planet turns toward more spiritual leanings as opposed to organized religious leanings, there is a lightening and a brightening of the energy, because each soul is then finally operating from a place of their own free will, their own understanding, their own reality. And that in and of itself is part of the progression of your planet and those of you on it. In closing, we would just like to remind you that whether you are in heaven or hell in this current physical existence, always remember that what you perceive is what you will receive. Because the universe does not determine whether that is good for you or bad for you. It simply provides you with that which you request. And on that note, we quickly would like to remind you that while the universe delivers what you requested, it may not do so in your terms and in your way, but from a higher perspective. So keep those thoughts high and clear, bright and light and powerful, so that your physical experiences can really create your little piece of heaven on earth. We remain at this time Masudius. Okay, so there you have it. Take care. We'll see you soon. And between now and then, remember to stand in your power and stand in your light. Bye-bye.